The one thing I found, really am intrigued by is the fact that they got the actress from the Forbidden Kingdom that played the White Witch to basically play Ada Wong. I mean, you take a picture of her and take a look at her, what she looks like at Ada, and
Yeah.
you look at Ada in the video game, and you're like, oh my god, this is really good. She looks exactly like Ada. You know?
It's kind of like Samuel Jackson in Avengers.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's a whole different story. I'm not even gonna get it.
Yeah.
But however, I'm really anxious for this film because the fact that they got Leon in this film, which is a new Resident Evil character that you're just gonna get introduced in this film. But he was in Resident Evil 2, the video game, and he was in Resident Evil 4, the video game. And he's actually going to be in the new Resident Evil video game coming up, Resident Evil 6, for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. And then, besides him, you got Barry, you got Jill back. I mean, the only ones that aren't going to be in the film is Chris and Claire, but Paul W. Anderson actually has got a story planned out for them for the next movie that's supposedly supposed to be the last film, depending on the success of this one. So I'm really hoping this one does good because they have a lot of good advertisements for them. I actually, feel a lot more better, for this film than I actually did going into the previous one, Afterlife. I mean, Afterlife, I was kind of wondering how everything's going to play out. I actually was, really kind of like almost amped up, and then basically things didn't play out exactly how I wanted them
So you
to.
thought Afterlife was a little bit too overhyped?
I would say Afterlife, yeah, it was a little. It wasn't overhyped, but it was more like it was more of a letdown. It wasn't really overhyped because,
Yeah.
But however, this one looks really good. I really, hoping it does well at the box office.
Yeah.
I like where they're going, and this one actually has a very good run time. From what I heard, this one was like 118 minutes. So being almost 2 hours, it's a lot of information they could go into.
Yeah, totally. And trailers look much better, this time around than before in Afterlife, because Afterlife felt a little bit too much gimmicky. This is kind of going back to that original Resident Evil kind of tone to it. With being more of a
And I'm hoping
trailer.
that the new Resident Evil movie has an awesome soundtrack, because Resident Evil 1 had an awesome soundtrack.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 2 had an awesome soundtrack. Resident Evil Extinction had an awesome soundtrack. And then Resident Evil Afterlife came out, it was just mostly background music. It was good background music, but, they didn't have what you want to call, like awesome kind of like metal rock music that they had on Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3,
Yeah.
So, I mean, they had Marilyn Manson on the first, and I even think the second soundtrack as well. So, that alone, should tell you something.